At its peak, the Mongol Empire covered between 11 and 12 million contiguous square miles, an area roughly the size of Africa. This scale is often attributed to a mindless tide of brute force, yet the expansion relied on a degree of organizational precision that the medieval world had never encountered. In the 12th century, the Mongolian steppe was a fractured landscape. Dozens of nomadic tribes were locked in a cycle of cattle raiding, kidnapping, and violent territorial disputes. Security was non-existent. This was the landscape a boy named Temujin was born into. Before he turned 10, an enemy clan poisoned his father. His own relatives abandoned his mother and siblings to starve in the harsh wilderness to avoid feeding them. Years later, his wife was kidnapped in a tribal raid. Temujin saw that the traditional rules of the steppe, where power was decided by birthright and honor demanded endless generational vengeance, guaranteed that no one was ever truly safe. These customs ensured that the tribes remained small, divided, and vulnerable. To survive, Temujin began to dismantle these tribal customs, replacing ancient blood loyalties with a new set of social and military laws. He started by ignoring the aristocratic titles of the old clans. He promoted individuals based on their contribution and loyalty, rather than their relatives. Under this new hierarchy, even a shepherd or a blacksmith who demonstrated competence could rise to command thousands. He shattered tribal groupings, organizing warriors into strict units of 10, 100, and 1,000. Mixing rival tribes within these units erased sectarian divisions. Men now shared an identity defined by rank and unit, not ancestry. To enforce this unity, he established a secret code of law known as the Yasa. This was the framework that would permanently regulate steppe life. The Yasa directly addressed the instability of his youth. It outlawed blood feuds. It made the kidnapping and sale of women a crime, and it made the theft of livestock punishable by death. As the empire expanded to include Christians, Muslims, and Buddhists, the Yasa mandated absolute religious freedom. This policy allowed the Mongols to govern diverse populations without the constant friction of religious rebellion. This combination of merit-based advancement and predictable, rigid law converted a scattered, vulnerable population into a unified and scalable force. This force required a massive logistical foundation. Much of that responsibility fell to the Mongol women. While men campaigned, women managed the camps and the nomadic economy. They ran supply lines, handled herd logistics, and maintained the empire's daily order. This authority scaled alongside the empire's borders. Eventually, women would govern entire successor khanates, holding the highest levels of political and administrative power. Because the home front was secure and efficiently managed, the army could move with unmatched speed. They traveled with no supply train other than their horses, allowing cavalry units to strike across vast distances before their enemies could react. When they encountered new challenges, they absorbed the solutions. They recruited Chinese siege engineers to take walled cities and adopted administrative practices from across Eurasia to keep the empire connected. The true Mongol advantage was a culture of extreme strategic adaptability, the ability to learn, delegate, and adjust their methods to meet any environment. In 1206, Temujin's consolidation of the steppe tribes was complete. He was proclaimed Genghis Khan, the universal ruler. He assumed the role of a continental administrator, overseeing a census, an international postal system, and a writing system for his people. When he died in 1227, the empire remained stable. The meritocratic ranks, the Yasa, and the logistical networks were resilient enough to continue functioning without his presence. His descendants utilized these exact frameworks to expand. Over the next century, the Mongol reach stretched from the Sea of Japan to the Caspian Sea, reaching as far as Poland, Syria, and Korea. The largest land empire in history was built through a meticulous design. By rewarding competence and creating a system of extreme clarity, Genghis Khan turned the chaos of the steppe into an enduring global order.